Next, we're going to talk about the importance of having a meter that you can trust when you're shooting on film. When you start shooting with film, a lot of times these older analog cameras don't have a light meter built in. Or if they're very old, the light meter that's built in may be inaccurate. So a common purchase a lot of film shooters make is an external light meter. Some of them can be very small like this. Some of them can be a little bit larger and more elaborate like this. However, depending on what you shoot, that can dictate what kind of meter you buy. So we'll start on the small side. This meter right here is made by a company called Voigtlander. This is a very small, compact light meter. And the way that this light meter works is it has a small sensor on the front of it, and you point it, and there's this orange button on the back, and you point it at what you want to take a photo of, you press the orange button, and then you simply align the dials until you get a green light in the middle. And that's how you know what your correct exposure is. So rather than feeling overwhelmed and daunted by all the complex dials, it can be very simple because it tells you the two numbers and then you just match these dials to those numbers. This has a small foot on the bottom that lets you place it into the hot shoe of a camera, which can be very convenient because if you have different film cameras that don't have meters, you can take the meter and put it from one to the next and you can use it with all of them. This can be a great option if you do a lot of travel or street photography because it's very compact and easy to use. Next up, we're going to talk about larger meters, and typically they will look like this. They will oftentimes have a white dome, and some of them are nice and rotate like this. And what this allows you to do is you can set your ISO, and when you press the button, instead of pointing it at what you want to take a photo of, you're going to use this in a different way. You're going to place it where your subject is, and you're going to push the button, and it's going to give you a readout of your exposure. So I know if I was shooting on ISO 400 speed film in this studio right now, my exposure would be a 60th of a second at f2. Now, this has buttons on the side, so if you want to choose a different aperture or different shutter speed, it's very easy to do that, and the light meter will do the calculation for you. Now, this is a very simple one because it only reads light in this way. It has to be where the subject is, which means if you're doing something like street photography, you can't always hold it in front of your subject. So this can be more challenging, but this is a meter that is aimed at people who are shooting in a studio or typically shooting portraits. Now, the granddaddy of them all is this Psychotic light meter, because not only can it read light from your subject's perspective, but it can do a lot of other advanced things as well. You can actually recess the dome as though your subject were in shadows. In addition, it also has this cute little rangefinder. And what that lets you do is that lets you switch modes from using this white dome, and you can actually use it, and it's a 1 degree spot. So if you want to meter for a specific part of your scene, you can actually meter for just that portion. In addition, this Psychotic has a built-in pocket wizard, which means that if you want to use studio strobes, it's very easy to do that because I don't need anything to attach to this. I can just trigger my strobe with another pocket wizard directly from this meter. So there's a range to the different kinds of meters you can buy. Some of them are very simple, some of them are advanced, but having a good meter is very important with film photography because it takes all of the guesswork out for you. Instead of having to guess at your exposure, it tells you the numbers and you line up the dials, and it's a lot more simple, and you don't have to overcomplicate things for yourself.